Not only because like he's bigger in size and I feel like he's good at what he does. It's just like if you pay attention to like I don't know if Simi has actually done a complete interview about his story. I want to interview him so bad. But every now and then he'll post pieces of his story on TikTok, right? And he comes off to me honestly as somebody who didn't expect to be where he is. And so there's something about that with a player, with an athlete. Like
Yeah,
those
at
people
that
who
level.
expect to be great, it's like they put in a different kind of work when they're just like, I'm trying to fulfill my destiny. I'm trying to reach my potential. But when you listen to him talk about his path to even getting D1 offers, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna pull up that video because he recently did a video on TikTok about his first D1 offer, and honestly, to me, it shed a lot of light on why he might come off the way he does to some people. Because I've had some people ask, "Does Simi Fehoko actually love football?" And I think there's so much of his talent that comes naturally. He hasn't really figured out what that means.
Yeah.
So like when I
How to
see
use
him
it.
in the backyard, or I actually saw one caption that calls it the fortress, like the number fortress,
Okay.
which I like that name a lot better than the
Mm-hmm.
backyard.
Okay.
So when I see him at the fortress putting in work, I believe that he's trying. But one thing that you realize on that path to trying to be a great athlete and being a great contributor to your team is that you might start off and you're like, I'm working harder than I've ever worked in my life. And then you realize that's not hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to put in even more work. And you're like, dang, I'm working harder than I ever worked in my life.
And it's still
And then
not
you're
enough.
like, okay, I need to do even more.
Yeah.
And you have to keep leveling up because everything that you think is the level to get where you need to go is not until you get to that level that you realize, dang, this ain't even it. And I think for Simi, he's just never been that person. He's never been relied on that level to where he had to put in that work. And I think he's still trying to figure out, not to mention the fact that he's got a baby on the way in the midst of all this, right?
Yeah.
And I think he's still trying to figure out, like, okay, what does this feel like? How do I adjust my lifestyle to being this person that I need to be in order to be considered a staple in the wide receiver room of the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah.
I don't think he doesn't love it. I don't think he doesn't want it. I think he's still adjusting to it. And I think that takes longer than a lot of people expect.
Even if you're a natural athlete, you still have to put in a lot of work to play at that level. Whatever sport you play, to play at that level, you have to put in insanely amount of work.
Exactly.
Regardless if you're like, naturally athletic and
there we go,
a freak of nature. But
all right, so I'm gonna share this video real quick. I wasn't even planning on doing this, but since we're talking about Simi, we're gonna talk about Simi. I'll never turn down an opportunity to talk about
I've been waiting for this.
All right, bro. Let me just tell you how I got my first D1 college offer. I don't think people realize, bro, I was a smooth like $175 and I could not get over 175. Like that was my peak. That was it. That was as big as I was gonna get. Side note, I really thought I was drippy, bro. Like drip or drown type thing. Like I even did my face like anyway. Like I was a certified lover boy too. Like check out this is my wife right now. She high school sweetheart. You know how we do it. But I was not on varsity my freshman year. I didn't make varsity. I wasn't good enough. There was a bunch of dudes in front of me, right? But I was good enough going into my sophomore year to get invited to go to like a 7-on-7 like pylons in Vegas, right? For Team Utah. But I wasn't even on Team 1. There was Team 2. Like it was just like for scrubs, right? My girl had been with me for like ever. So we show up to 7-on-7, right? I'm just a skinny little dude. I'm not thinking anything of it. Like, I'm like, okay, let me just play some football, bro. It's basketball season, but screw it. I'm going to just play some football. I show up. I start going stupid, like head topping, like. And I got my feet down. Touchdown. Anyways, we end up going and winning a whole bunch of games, all that stuff, man. But it just so happens that a recruiter was there. Guess what college? These dudes right here, bro. Clemson was my first offer. I was a sophomore. And that's because I was just hooping at this 7-on-7, right? And I wasn't even on the best team. Like I never played receiver. Like I was really garbage, bro. My sophomore year, I didn't even play receiver either. Like I just played free safety, but I was getting picks back there. I was catching. After they offered, man, it started like a trend. And then the in-state schools like Utah, BYU, they started offering. And then I started going to camps and invited to camps, and I started getting more offers. Ended up with Stanford, dream school. You know why I had to do it. Come on, man.
He's such a raw, humble dude. Like such a down to earth, like regular dude. Like, I don't know. He's just so cool.
I love it. But when he told that story, it revealed two things to me. One, he didn't expect to be like most people who start off not even expecting to get D1 offers definitely don't expect to become a Dallas Cowboy. Definitely don't expect to be one of the main receivers for the Dallas Cowboys. So for one thing, it told me that like he's probably just now getting to the point where it's just like, oh crap, like I
gotta do it.
I'm here. Secondly, the question of does he love football? Like clearly he does, because the whole reason he was in that position at that event where the recruiter was because it was an opportunity to play football. It was a 7-on-7. He didn't really see the significance of it at the time, but he went because it was something that he wanted to do. And let me tell you, if you've never been an athlete, if you think you are garbage, but decide to voluntarily play for fun anyway, you love that sport.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So anybody who's questioning what that means, like the fact that he was like, I was really garbage and I didn't play receiver, but then he goes out to this game that doesn't count for anything and plays receiver. Yes, he loves football. He loved it then and probably still loves it now. Because
you don't just travel so far.
Any of my struggling skaters who have ever been to RollerCon and somebody been like, we need a jammer, and you're just like, all right, I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm saying right now.
Give me that star. That's gonna be you. Give me that star. You're gonna bitch all the way about it, but you can do it.
You know what I'm saying right now. So yeah, I feel like he answered that. It might not be the answer that some people wanted. And I think it might be a little while before we see the answer that a lot of people want to see, which is going to be a lot like CeeDee Lamb. Not saying that Simi is going to be the number one wide receiver, but in the sense that like CeeDee Lamb, the work that he put in wasn't enough. He had to actually show the performance to prove to people that he was who he claimed to be. And I think it's going to be the same thing with Simi, where it's like there are going to be some people who see it now, and there are going to be some people who are going to be like, you have to show and prove. But he's been on this team. He's contributed a lot on special teams. And I really think that if it hadn't been for his injury, he would have gotten more opportunities because he didn't put up a lot of yards or make a lot of catches, but he also wasn't getting a lot of targets.
Yes.
Right? And so I just feel like had he had a full season, he would have gotten more targets and had opportunities. And so I really expect Simi to show up. And I mean, have you seen some of these pictures from what he's doing? At the Fortress, it's like this man can fly.
He's a talented player.
Like, yes, he's got skills. He just needs to build that familiarity. And anyway, this is not enough about Simi.
Dear Simi, are you gonna start writing letters to Simi too?
I might have to because I've been trying so hard to get him on the show. I want to talk to him about his story.
We need to go with like some music from behind, like dear whoever.
Yeah, and I would also like him to sing on the show. Like he hasn't made a video.
Listen, Simi, just come over whenever you're ready. We'll be ready.
I'll give you the gas money to drive to Austin. I'll meet you.